Designed for dudes.
And yes, that's it.
Whee!
Welcome to this episode of Small Bike Stuff. I'm really excited to film this thing because it's just so odd and beautiful at the same time, and the most important reason is that this is a motor scooter for men. Now, if you don't believe me, I'll show you some documentation that proves my point. This is the Yamaha Towny. It's effectively a bike that was literally designed for the male market, and it's a 50cc 2-speed twist and go automatic, and it's just a bit of a rudimentary looking thing with bigger wheels that you could jump on, go down to the shops and secure the day's supplies, maybe commute to and from work if you needed to as well. Bigger wheels, suitable for, you know, bigger framed people, and it's just a beautiful little thing. So let's get stuck into it. So here we've got a little 2-stroke twist and go 2-speed automatic, and basically Yamaha were right at their peak when this thing was produced of experimenting with 2-stroke twist and goes. They made a ton of different models, and this thing here actually shares the transmission and engine with a few different scooters. The other cool thing about this is that it is a shaft drive bike, so there's no chain drive, there's no belts. The shaft goes right back here. Some people argue that you lose power on a shaft drive, but I mean, there's not much power to begin with, so surely you can't lose that much anyway. It's a cool looking thing, 2-stroke, twist and go, really basic. And I think you're putting out about 3 horsepower, carbureted obviously. Yes, there is a choke, and there's not really much else to talk about. It's incredibly basic. Wheels and tires. So the unique features for this thing when it comes to wheels and tires is that they actually have a smaller rear and then a bigger front. The front, you've actually got a 16-inch wheel. It's very narrow. It's running a 2.25-inch tire, is it? Or is it 2-inch? Yeah, 2-inch wide by 16. It's very, very small. And tube only type. It's a little Continental. And then when we go to the rear, you have a 14-inch as well. It's a 2.25-inch by 14. Very, very skinny. A little bit of a wider profile than the front, but a smaller diameter. So they both get the job done. Very small drum brakes. As far as how big they are, you know, about a finger can fit over the whole hub itself. So yeah, the brakes inside there aren't super big, but I mean, this thing's not designed to go 100 kilometers an hour. It's designed to do 30 kilometers an hour in an inner city Japanese street. Controls on this thing are fairly basic, as you can imagine. You've got a left switch block with your normal and then your high beam. You've got a left and a right turn signal. You've got your horn. You've got a choke lever down here as well. There's actually a really cool helmet holder that's sitting up here right next to the left switch block. Looks like it's possibly been added aftermarket, maybe not. Can't escape the Honda influence. This is a Honda helmet holder that's been attached here and really serves a nice purpose. You don't want to put your helmet in the basket, you're using that for shopping. And then you've got your speedometer here. So it goes up to 60, but as you can see there, you've got a limit or just a suggested limit at 30 kilometers an hour. You've got a green light here, which is probably your turn signals, and this will either be oil or speed. A lot of Japanese scooters of this era, once they get up to 30 kilometers an hour, a red light flashes. Switch block on this side here is quite literally just lights off and on. Throttle here, and then your cable operated drum, and your cable operated drum for the rear as well. The key, you've got off, start, and then you've got run. So you have to start it in the middle position, and then once you're going, you can switch it over here to run. This thing here has only done 6,288 kilometers if it hasn't been around the clock, because it's got a small amount of digits, but I imagine that's effectively, it looks like it's done about that much distance. As far as other controls, what you do have is an oil tank here. So the oil tank is in the down tube of the frame and supplies the engine with oil here where it's auto mixed. You've also got your fuel tank under here. So this is your physical fuel tank, and there I think you've just got a sight for the fuel tank as well, because there is no fuel gauge. So tank for fuel, tank for oil. In here they mix together, go down to the engine and come out of here. This tiny little exhaust is pure power. As far as modifications, there are literally none. Some of them did have a big sticker down here saying Towny, so I think this thing's possibly been repainted at some point in its life, or if it's just had the sticker removed at the very least. Your frame numbers up here, you've got a steering lock down here. Our front basket is really nice, and another nice feature about this front basket is it's actually got a spring operated lid, so once you put a few things in there, it kind of clamps down and holds it in place. So I really like that feature. 6 volts, so we've got a little bit of light coming from these when it's on, your headlight and your turn signals. Your front suspension looks like it's got a little bit of travel, but there's really not much. Those rubber fork gaiters or fork covers are actually giving the illusion of a lot more travel than what it really does have. You've got a beautifully positioned rack there that actually seems to be able to take, you know, a fair weight. Why do I say that? Just because if you push down, the physical rack's not bending, the whole bike's moving, so you could put at least 2 or 3 kilograms of stuff on the back there. So yeah, incredibly simple little machine. It's purely designed just to travel to and from those markets, and you can see, you know, perfect rear mud guard that comes all the way back and it prohibits any spray coming from anywhere near you. Same with the front, it's even got the rubber extender with the Yamaha logo on it. So yeah, just practicality through and through. It's a perfect little utilitarian machine to get to and from the local shops. And supposedly we just give it a kick and yes, that's it, it goes. Now I've obviously got to be careful when I accelerate and show you the revs on these things because they're all twist and goes, so the tyres effectively touch the ground already. But we do have a bit of clearance, so this is what it sounds like. Aha, I've just tricked myself. Because we're on the start feature, listen to this. Doesn't really want to go. If we change to run, then it's accelerating as normal. If you're not used to 2 strokes, this is super normal as well, especially when they start and they're colder, burning a lot of oil. They'll burn oil the whole time they're running, but it's just a lot more pronounced when they first start, and it kind of cleans up and becomes a less coloured smoke after the bikes are actually warm.
Woo-hoo! Oh, I feel like a man. No, seriously, they did. They designed it for men. It was a different time. They made specific gender-based models. Of course, anyone could ride it. I just ran out of fuel. Anyway. Okay. And then I left it on that mode. Gosh. Okay, so what just happened there, gear change, is I ran out of fuel, turned the fuel tap on, and then after that I started it, and then I've got to take it out of start mode, which is the middle key feature, and then yeah, now we're going. Whew, that was confusing. Whee! I do wonder how fast it goes, because this is a 2-speed automatic. I'll let you know very shortly. I feel like we've tapped out already. Lie down. Do we go faster? Yes. Whee! Yeah, that was a bit of a kerfuffle at the start there. Anyway, we did a speed run, and this bike is interesting because once again it's 2-speed. I'll let you listen to the sound of the gear change after I check my speed. But yeah, it's designed for dudes. They're the Yamaha Pasola and the Pop Gal, which were female orientated supposedly, but this thing here is designed for gentlemen. It's got 2 springs on the back for a bigger load, and yeah, it seems to handle it okay, but it's a very, very weird little machine. Terminal velocity with me on it is 51.7 kilometers an hour. Impressive. It's a 2-speed. The shaft drive, I guess, does suck up a little bit of power, but yeah, it goes well. It feels nice. Listen, first, second. That was second there. Anyway, I'm gonna go and be a gentleman riding my Yamaha Towny. That's enough. I'll catch you on the next episode of Small Bike Stuff.